whenever you're ready.
Today I'll be speaking to you about the effect of confrontation on athletes' mental health. The issue at hand. Confrontation stems from multiple different stressors. These stressors include mental, physical, and verbal. When these stressors are in place, an athlete's production both on and off the field can suffer. This includes negative performance both on the field and at home, as well as mental health struggles. When combined with already existing mental health struggles, this can lead to suicidal thoughts and suicidal actions. This was stressed by Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps in Laura Ewing's article on athletes' mental health, when he states that the COVID-19 pandemic led to an increase in mental health struggles. My question states that, how can we address to fix these concerns? When paired with Leanna Zanette's article on predator-induced fear leading to PTSD in animals, and Marcus Thompson II's article on Simone Biles and her bravery in the 2020 Olympics, I was able to produce an argument that stems from 3 different research topics: scientific reports, news articles, and informational magazines, that I feel best suits and best helps athletes' mental health. My argument is that an even mix of both doctoral examinations and personal methods is the best medical choice to help with an athlete's mental health. My first solution is that athletes' mental health should be handled by doctors and physicians. Doctors and physicians are trained professionals in their field of study. When put in place, they can assist these athletes in their mental health journey through positive reinforcement. My reasoning for this is that athletes are only human. They can only do so much. Yes, athletes know themselves better than anyone, but doctors are trained professionals in their field of study and have expertise on the situation at hand. Mental state is important. An athlete's mental state is the most important thing to them. They won't be able to play the sport forever, so when the sport's over, their mental health will still struggle. If that's in place, their lives will be at risk. My second solution: athletes should find alternative means of dealing with mental health. When their mental health is a struggle, athletes can do things on their own to help with this. Athletes know themselves better than anyone, like I said before. They know what works for them and what doesn't. If an athlete needs to change their sleep schedule, they know that they need to fix that. If an athlete's diet is poor, they know they need to fix that. If they need to increase or decrease their exercise, an athlete knows that best. The personal beliefs play a big role in this as well. A study found that religion plays a major role in mental health. If an athlete has a strong religious background, it is shown that their mental health can have a positive effect. Implications: adding doctors to training facilities. The adaptation of doctors and training facilities will allow these organizations and professional athletes the ability for their athletes' mental health to benefit positively. Athletes having regimented lives will also affect this positively, as when an athlete regiments their lives, it creates a strict schedule for the athlete. The athlete will follow that schedule and will have no veering effects based on their schedule. The limitations: expenses. Adding doctors and physicians to every organization in professional sports will be expensive. It will cost these companies hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, possibly millions, to afford doctors and physicians for every athlete. Secondly, it may be possibly ineffective. All these companies that are implementing these doctors as well as personal methods for their athletes may be possibly ineffective. If this is the case, it will cost these companies money and time. Money and time are most important to these companies, as, like I said before, athletes will only play the sport for so long. Companies will have to deal with the possible side effects of ineffective treatment for them. Thank you.
All right, so let's look at your oral defense questions. What evidence did you gather that you did not include, and then why did you choose not to include it?
So I gathered a couple studies that were based on race and how that affects an athlete's mental health. I chose not to include that in my presentation as I felt that it limited me to only a certain section of mental health. I felt that mental health as a whole deserved to be in my presentation, and that if I limited it to only one section, such as racism, that it could ruin my overall argument, that it was a broader.
Okay. So what additional questions emerged from your research, and why are those questions important?
Right, so a couple questions that emerged while I was researching this were how previous methods were used to treat mental health. So when I was looking at newer forms of treatment for mental health, I found that previously they had tried, like these organizations had tried adding doctors and physicians into their companies, and that it hadn't worked in the past. And I felt that I asked looked to research a couple of questions on why that hadn't worked in the past, and I was unable to find some solid evidence for that. And so that's a couple of questions that I would ask.
All right, thank you very much. Now you can apply.